we're on opposite sides than we normally are.
We are.
You are expressing so much empathy, so much deep thought, so much.
I'm in love.
That is yours.
Listen, I'm getting dick down, and it has changed me.
Ooh, wait, no.
Listen. Wait.
I hate you for that.
Let me fix it. Welcome back to Let Me Fix It, the podcast that says adulthood, where dreams go to die. Wow. I'm Francesca Ramsey, and I'm flabbergasted, but I'm also an actress, a producer, and a social media consultant.
And I'm DeLon Grant. I am an actor, a singer, a writer, a photographer, an educator. And that comes from my friend Mark Lippman, who's a brilliant musician who watches the podcast all the time. And he was like, he watched the game that we had last week class. And he sent me that. He was like, this came to mind. And I was like, thank you so much. I will put it on the pod. Appreciate you.
It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal.
He's a brilliant musician.
And I didn't listen to it ahead of time because you did text it to me, and I was like, let me just have a really genuine reaction. What a delightful treat. DeLon, I also brought a tagline.
Great.
You know what? Why don't you intro the tagline and I'll play it.
Great. Welcome back to Let Me Fix It, the podcast that says Oh my God. How dare you put that face on? Just to get bandages off, girl. Oh my God, you set a bitch right up. She said, I'm gonna get this motherfucker good. Holy shit. You know what's so funny is that I don't know. Two things. That laugh did not always used to be so high pitched and like reckless.
I don't know when that happened.
You know what? And that's the second thing. When it happened was when my antidepressant started working. I'm dead ass.
Yeah, I know you are.
And when I was when therapy, I remember I went to Orlando. Remember I was working in Orlando, and I went to Harry Potter World or wherever that is, Universal Studios. And I came off those rides, scream laughing. And I was like, I've never felt this depth of joy. And it hasn't stopped. It hasn't stopped.
I have been threatening to make that supercut for the longest time.
Wow. That is crazy.
And last week I was like, you know what? I'm gonna really sit down and do this. And I only used I want to say I used 10 episodes. There's so many screens, but I really had to go and dig for the best ones. My favorite one, class, is the 9/11 episode. Tanya Head, is that her name?
I know exactly what you're talking about. That fucking dog. I know exactly what the fuck you're talking about. Class, if you don't know, I adopted a dog during the pandemic, and we weren't a match, and so I did return her to her foster parent, who then adopted her. So she's all right, she's fine. But Fran
I took a shot. I took a shot at DeLon, and it is one of I have tears in my eyes. It was just so funny. Class, if you want to send us a tagline, you can send us a voice note. You can send us a text. You don't have to do something super produced, but we love hearing your voice. All you have to do is send an email to lemmefixitpod@gmail.com, and we might include you in the show.
And to those of you who have sent them, I see you in the inbox. You are on our roster, and it's coming up. It's coming up. So we have 2 or 3 in the bank. So thank you for sending them. Keep sending them in, friends.
All right, DeLon, yes. Do you want to go first, or should I go first?
Sure. Have you heard about what's going on with this new Luigi Mangione effect?
Oh, is this about the burned down
This is about the
warehouse?
warehouses, yes. So, class, if you don't know, which I think you all probably do,
Hmm.
there was this disgruntled worker that set a warehouse ablaze in Ontario, California. So, this warehouse housed basic tissue products for Kimberly Clark. So, I don't know exactly what they make, but Kimberly Clark is a well-known like industry name.
Like
It's toilet
toilet paper for
paper,
sure. Yeah.
it's paper towels, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this
Mm-hmm.
man caused millions of dollars in damage, not only
Yeah.
to the product, but to the building as well. And class, if you don't know, he's quoted with saying, what did he say? All you had to do was pay us enough to fucking live
Ooh.
and set it ablaze.
Ooh.
Then there was an Amazon warehouse that was set ablaze. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
lest you haven't heard, I don't know if you all know who Sam Altman is, but Sam Altman is the guy who started, or is the
Open AI.
CEO of
Yeah.
OpenAI.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he lives with his family in California, and someone threw a Molotov cocktail at his house, and then they shot at his window. Not
Yeah.
saying that any of this arson, violence, murder should be condoned, but I think the
Mm-hmm.
question I have for all of us is this the other side of the coin? You know, we're doing
Yeah.
these No Kings marches and we're peacefully protesting, but there's going to be a contingent of us who go, fuck that. It's like Martin Luther King versus Malcolm X, right? Malcolm
Yeah.
X was like, violence is warranted sometimes.
Well,
And Martin was like nonviolent.
and don't let the no kings think they MLK in this situation, you know.
Just because you got king in the title don't mean nothing.
Wow, he's a writer.
Ready?
Wow, that was smooth. No, I think you bring up an interesting point because yes, we don't want to condone or encourage people to start, you know, going to violent ends, but the reality is we don't get our no one has ever nicely asked for their rights. You know what I mean? Like
Totally.
we have asked nicely, and unfortunately, a show of force oftentimes seems to convince people more than anything. And I also heard about people putting the expanding foam in the toilets of different office buildings.
Are you for real?
And them not being able to figure out who it is because they don't have cameras inside the bathroom. So people are going into the
sleuthy.
Oh, so sleuthy. And the expanding foam class, when it expands, it hardens. And it's like you're going to have to replace the entire plumbing in order to fix it. And I do think, you know, again, the burning down the buildings, it's dicey because someone could potentially get hurt.
Right.
And I think in the one, the Kimberly Clark one, there was something like 50 employees there, which I thought was interesting because it kind of
while it was
speaks to
burning.
Yes, but they got out.
Okay.
But the 50 employees of it all was like, that's not a lot of people working in a giant warehouse, which kind of supports this idea that like these people are being overworked.
Right.
And they didn't have enough support there. So unfortunately, I do think we need to be more aggressive in terms of like demanding fair wages because we've tried the nice way. We've tried the nice way and y'all aren't listening.
And well, this gets to my politics. You know how disillusioned I am with the Democratic Party as of late because I think they're just like they're a hand of corporate America, right? I'm just really, it's just becoming so clear to me. And what are they doing to combat all the affordability stuff? They're talking about it, but they're not doing anything. I don't see them doing anything in Congress. Everybody took off for Easter. They're hanging out. They're taking vacations and shit. And I'm like, but you know, like, people are working, air traffic controllers, TSA workers. We've talked about this before, and these people can't take time off, right?
Yeah.
And they're not getting paid. It's just ludicrous. So like it is coming to a head. I think it's all coming to an apex. I hope that everyone gets out of it safely, but it's not surprising to me that there's another side of the coin that somebody is choosing violence because they don't think it's happening fast enough, you know?
Yeah. I mean, this is what happens when people are literally pushed to their limits. And unfortunately, as things continue to get worse, I think we're going to see escalations in this. There are people who literally cannot feed their families. There are people who have not, if not already faced homelessness, are on the brink of homelessness. And I think the thing that we've talked about a number of times here on the pod is most of us are closer to homelessness than we are to being millionaires or billionaires. It
Talk
only
about
takes
it.
one accident. It only takes one, and you can't plan for a car accident, right? You
Right.
can't plan to get diagnosed with cancer, or, your house burns down, or whatever it may be. And sometimes those are the one, bad luck that befalls you, that is the difference between you being on the street and being at a place where you're like, okay, I might have to, break into this store in order to feed my kids, right? Like, not to
It's
say that
just
that's what you
ludicrous.
want to do, but
Right.
like, it's crazy that we as a society often have more smoke for, the mom who fudges her kid's school application for them to go to a better school than we do to the heads of the corporations who are stealing money and time from their employees, right? Like,
Right.
we are harder on the person who is dealing with drug addiction as a result of mental illness or some, unprocessed trauma. We don't have compassion for people who are put in situations where they're like, I don't want to do the wrong thing, but like, how am I supposed to live?
Right. It's demoralizing. It's really
Right.
demoralizing, especially we're in a society where capitalism wins the day in Western society. And we're told growing up that like you are supposed to fight to not only be a cog in the capitalist wheel, but to try to be a millionaire, right? To try to
Right.
be, achieve the American dream, a dog, a house, a vacation home. And
Mhm.
you know what I mean? You're supposed to do all these things that
And
aren't
that we're all in
realities any
and that we're
longer.
all in competition with each other. That's the
Right.
other thing. On the capitalism of it all is we see all of this infighting, and that's what's been so frustrating about our current situation with Donald Trump. Donald Trump lied to his base. Yes, the racism and the sexism and the homophobia and the transphobia, all of that played a role, but he also made them think that we are all in competition with each other, and that if I have mine, then I'm set and fuck all the rest of y'all. And that's not the case.
Well, it's an age old trope, and especially in politics, right?
Yeah.
The people, I feel like even the founding fathers, quote unquote, right? It's
Their unwashed
it's
asses. Nasty asses.
missing teeth, right? No, but it's like it's not your fault. It's the immigrants coming in, right? It's not your fault that you're poor. It's just that they're taking your jobs. It's not your fault. It's just that drag queens are reading to your children in libraries, which is like really fucking up your kids.
While the powers that be are raping children.
Talk about it.
Cause you ain't see no queer people in them files.
On private
you ain't
planes,
see
even.
Hello. Yeah, I feel like we talk about this a lot on the pod, but I'm always thankful that we continue these conversations, because the reality is the Dems they ain't been doing it,
Well, and they're steady talking about midterms. I'm talking about now terms. I'm talking about right the fuck now, because you expect us to come out just because we vote blue, and y'all aren't doing enough to inspire anybody.
They're calling them. They're calling them blue MAGA. Have you heard that? They call them blue MAGA.
That's spot on, because they're moving to center right. Let's be honest. And I'm out here looking for the progressive candidates, and if that means splitting the vote, then I guess like it's no better than what we're dealing with right now. So then fuck it,
Well, and it's very frustrating, because there's this whole thing that's been happening with, I guess his name's Swalwell. Is that how you say his name?
Eric Swalwell.
Swalwell. There's, as more is coming out about him, it does seem like the tide is turning, and a lot more people are acknowledging, like, yes, he has behaved inappropriately, in addition to, very serious allegations of like outright rape, not just, getting handsy and things like that. But before, there was a formal investigation, and before he actually stepped down, I saw a lot of blue MAGA being like, well, our president is a rapist, so why now you can't hold him to the same standard? Like, what are we talking about? Are we really about to say, oh, well, he's a rapist, so you can't be mad about him being a rapist, and this idea that like, well, he's not Trump. He's not Trump. So
Girl.
you can't criticize him. And we shouldn't be asking for, I mean, again, the bar is in fucking hell. I don't want somebody who's a rapist in office. And so now you're looking at me sideways like, oh,
Well,
you're asking for too much.
I'm just tired of everything we do on the left being compared to Trump. Well,
Thank
at least
you.
we're not Trump, so vote for us. At least
Right.
he's not Trump, so vote for us. No, we have to have a moral center, you know?
Yes.
Class, if you're not familiar, Eric Swalwell is he's
He's a congressman, right?
He's a congressman in the House from California. He's running for governor, actually. He had a pretty positive bid for governor, but all these allegations came out, as they're wont to do, about him sleeping with staffers and assaulting staffers and all this ridiculous stuff, which is really heartbreaking because, like, it's just crazy that we're still dealing with this in 2026. Mind you, he has a wife and kids. So what the fuck are you doing? Like, it's crazy to me.
And you know, that was interesting too, because for all of these allegations are false. He made sure to say, I want to apologize to my wife. I want to apologize for what?
Excuse me.
For what? I also want to say, because I hadn't planned on us going down this route, but I'm glad that we did. I want to say a shout out to one of my Instagram mutuals, Miss Frazzled, because she was really instrumental in breaking this story last year. Yes, she is a TikToker. She talks about politics, and she's very like progressive content creator. And there was this whole, hullabaloo around like, oh, the timing is weird. The timing is suspect. Okay, no, there's never a right time, okay, to come forward and say I was a victim of sexual assault. But the reality was last year, she did some stuff with his campaign. And when she posted about it on Instagram, she had women in her DMs going, do not give him your phone number. Do not be alone with him. Because she had like some sort of like influencer event where she had worked with him and posted it about it on social media, as a lot of political influencers are wont to do. And she was really instrumental in like ringing the alarm because so many women were reaching out to her. And again, this was in 2025. Women who had encounters with him, who had worked with his campaign, who had been assaulted by him, who had been sent nude photos and things like that. And so she was one of the people who reached out to some journalists and was like, hey, we need to do something about this. And she got a lot of blowback last year when she publicly said that she was going to stop supporting him because some of the things that she had been told behind the scenes. And this whole thing started, oh, what happened to innocent until proven guilty? We're not in the court of public opinion is very different than the court of law.
Right.
This is a job application. You are applying for a job, and we are allowed to say no. Hello.
As is the internet. The internet's going to come for you no matter what. So you have to figure out your talking points, but also like the internet often is right. I hate to say that. I mean,
for better or for worse. For better, not always, but yes, they are right a lot of times.
They're right. I mean, the Epstein files still stump me. I know we're going all over the place, but the Epstein files, I didn't believe that shit for a second. I was like, that is I didn't believe it for a second, especially because it was
Epstein.
Well, I know about what he was doing, but the idea that there were these files where all of these people were involved, and it was like some kind of I don't know what you call it, like a
blackmail plot. That's why he has photos of everything.
Well, see, I like it's blown up so much bigger than I ever thought it was, because it was so on the right. It was so MAGA that I was like, oh, this is like QAnon, conspiracy, Pizzagate, all of that.
Yeah, but that's what was crazy. That was what was crazy about it, is that all the shit that they were accusing, Hillary Clinton and the Dems and all that stuff that they were accusing the other side of, they were participating in. And ultimately, the Epstein files are a bipartisan issue. There are people of every political background.
I'm looking at you, Bill Gates.
I don't give a fuck who you voted for. If you are in there, you should be under the jail. And Absolutely. I think when we talk about, I know I'm going to say his name wrong, Eric Swalwell? Swalwell. When we talk about him, there is this undercurrent from Republicans of, see, your guys do it too. And it's like, okay. And that means all of y'all, if you touch somebody without their consent, we should take your ass out of office.
But don't point your finger at the political side and go, you too. No, we're pointing at the individuals committed the crimes. That's what we're saying.
And we packed his ass up. Packed his ass up. He said, okay, you know what? I'm going to resign. Again, like, there's an investigation pending, and I hope there are some legal consequences.
Absolutely.
Because there should be. But this idea of, but I saw lots of people being like, yeah, your buddy Bill Clinton is in the files too. And I'm like, and guess what? I don't have a Clinton flag outside of my fucking house because I don't worship politicians. Like, what?
Right. Crazy.
Oh,
anyway,
my God.
What's your headline?
All right. Well, Delon, did you see any of Justin Bieber's Coachella performance?
I knew she was going to bring this up. I knew she was going to talk about. I was like, Fran's going to talk about Justin Bieber.
Okay. Well, you might be surprised at the direction I'm going to take here because my feelings have changed. So, class, I think so. I mean, this is also like part of my personality in that when I'm interested in something, if I like it or I hate it, I like to do research because I just like to hear what other people have to say and like get different viewpoints. And I'm feeling differently about this Justin Bieber Coachella performance. So class, if you have been living under a rock, Justin Bieber headlined the first weekend of Coachella. And people have been really divided about this performance. People have been calling it the worst performance in Coachella history, but some of his diehard fans are like, you just don't understand. This was, an homage to his diehards. Because a big part of the performance included him scrolling on a laptop through YouTube and playing YouTube clips and singing along with them. And a lot of people, I know. And so here's
this motherfucker was paid $10 million.
He was paid $10 million. Here's the thing.
To do what we could do at home?
Yes. Okay, look, and here's where class, I'm really curious to hear what y'all think about this because at first glance, I was like, oh my God, the privilege. And I do think multiple things can be true here, right? Like, I don't think a female musician, let alone a Black musician, could get away with that, right? But it was not the totality of the performance. It was a part of the performance. And I think as I've been like reading more about it and also like watching the performance itself, it kind of feels like this performance art in that like Justin Bieber's gone through a lot. And I felt like this was kind of a healing process for him, like reflecting on his childhood.
Go to therapy. Go to therapy. What are you talking about? I paid for these tickets. I want to see I want to be entertained.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
This is what I'm saying. Yes, and right. Like I don't necessarily think the execution really nailed it, but I feel differently about this idea that like YouTube is where he's discovered, and there's this. I believe he's been through a lot of trauma. Like when the Diddy stuff came out and the way he was acting, it really makes me think that he has seen some things. And there is
sure.
And I'm not saying that the stage is the place that he needs to work that out, but I do think that like in the context of the whole performance, like he starts singing, some like very deep cuts before he goes into the YouTube portion, and he kind of like does this journey through the YouTube of like him being discovered through like all of his big hits, and then he like pulls the hoodie off and then brings Thames out and brings like all some collaborators out and like does some performances. So the whole thing wasn't YouTube, but also he's going through something and he needs to work on it. Like, I don't think we need to be a part of it.
Stage. I don't need to pay for it. Like you, or
you didn't pay for it.
I know.
Because you didn't know.
Weren't there. Bitch, you weren't there either. So shut up. You're out here defending him. So please.
No, I'm not.
My point. My point
Yes.
is. People have like Coachella is such a big thing. Sabrina Carpenter also was there over the weekend and had a look
Broadway
at what's expected.
Style. Yes.
Lest we forget Beychella, right?
Absolutely.
Beychella was everything. I watch that performance every year, and I think the problem that people are having with it is that he got paid $10 million to come up and be in his fifis to have a therapy session. And sure, diehards, listen, if you love it, I love it. I love it for you. Mm-hmm. But like, if you're talking about entertainment and we're talking about the standard of access, right, to something like that. And putting on a show, you mean all of these women have done all of this work to put on a show, and you get to graze in here in a hoodie and have some of your friends come out and just play some and sing along to your YouTube videos? That is ripe for critique.
Yes,
right.
and that's where I feel like many things could be true, because yes, he is a white man who has a tremendous amount of privilege and access, and like, you know, there's a whole trend on TikTok of people pulling up that YouTube video where he's dropping the N-word. Have you seen that? He has a song.
That's nothing I wanted to say. I was like, you forgot that YouTube video though, didn't you?
He didn't do that one
with the swoop. You forgot.
He's singing one less lonely N-word over and over again.
Does he mention hanging somebody too, or white Ku Klux Klan? He says in there.
He says some stuff. Yes.
So like, hey,
it's listen. And again, this is why I'm saying this is one of those nuanced. For me, I'm not going to be like, oh my God, no one's allowed to critique him. I just went into it being like, oh my God, this privileged white boy, this is trash, to then like actually watching it and being like, oh, I feel like this is less of a thing that he threw together and more of he had a plan for what this was supposed to represent. And I don't think everyone got it. I feel like the execution could have been better. Like him hunched over a laptop, I don't really think was the way to go. But I also felt like there was something really interesting and like powerful of him like harmonizing with his younger self. Like I kind of thought that was like there was a moment where it's him as a kid and he turns around and like looks up at it and he's harmonizing and like his silhouette, like it for a moment it was, for me, I was like, damn, he's going through something. And again, not that this should be on this stage, but I was like, wow, this is an interesting perspective that I don't think we get from a lot of musicians, because it's like somebody who's been in the public eye for a really long time and has been going through, you know, the Diddy stuff came out. There's a clip of him with Diddy as a kid, and Diddy is talking about teaching him about girls and stuff. And it's very uncomfortable. And I just feel like his public crash outs on Instagram. Again, I'm not saying it.
No, I just find it interesting because like we're on opposite sides than we normally are.
We are.
You are expressing so much empathy, so much deep thought, so much.
I'm in love.
That is yours.
Listen, I'm getting dick down, and it has changed me. It has made me. It has made me a soft little bitch.
Single. And bitter. It's just so
true.
Funny. You are usually the one that's resolute, that's like no, and we're on opposite sides. I find this very fascinating.
Yeah, I
hear you on the Diddy thing though. I interrupted you, but I hear you on the Diddy thing. That is traumatic. Yeah. That is a lot. But at the same time, like again, I came all the way to this Coachella, sweating my ass off to dance my ass off.
I think any fan who was there and spent all that money and is pissing in a bucket and is like sleeping out of their car and whatever they're going through, I think they have every right to be like, man, I'm disappointed. I wanted more. I think we are in an era right now, especially with these like streamed concerts, where a lot of the performance is for the viewer at home. And when I watched it like at home, I was like, oh wow, like this is interesting, right? Because if I was in the crowd, I probably wouldn't like, this really sucks. I'm also not like a Justin Bieber super fan, so I did really feel like all the deep cut stuff, like all of the clips that he was discovered with by Scooter Braun on YouTube, that really felt like it was for his like core audience. But I also think something that was mentioned in a video that I watched that I thought was interesting was this idea that for people who've experienced childhood trauma, becoming a parent like unlocks part of that trauma in a new way. And I definitely think that that's what's happened to Justin Bieber. He had a kid and he has been fucking crashing out ever since, because it's this idea of like, now I see a helpless little child, and I used to be a helpless little child, and like all the shit that happened to me, how I would never let that happen to my child. How did somebody let that happen to me? I feel like that's what he's been going through.
Go to therapy, Justin. Get some therapy stat.
Get a med.
Yes. Listen.
Well, and I think
It reminds me of a class friend and I went to go see Janelle Monáe before she was like huge.
yeah.
She was opening for Erykah Badu, and Janelle Monáe this is when she had her pompadour.
Mm-hmm.
Frank came to Boston when I was my first stint in Boston, and we had such a great time at this fucking concert.
Mm-hmm.
But Janelle Monáe had a big band. She's going crazy on the stage, sweating her ass off. Erykah Badu comes out in sweatpants, a t-shirt with a computadora, and is just sitting there on the laptop. I was like, you would come out here with nothing after that woman just tore it up. It's giving that. It's giving like, I don't have to. It's low effort. I get it. It's pensive what you're saying. It's really kind of contemplative, and we're thinking about what he went through. But like, I guess it's a deep cut, like you said. But I want to feel something. I guess you're saying you felt something.
Yeah, I think. Again, this is anytime I watch a movie, I do this. Like I watch the movie and I'm like, I don't know if I like that. And then I go on like Reddit and I read what people have to say about it. And I'm like, oh, wait, maybe I hadn't considered those things. That's how I felt here. And I think, again, I don't think this was the right venue for this. Like if this had been like his docuseries moment and he had done it that way, I think it would have been very different. I also think this is one of those instances where you're right that he needs to go to therapy, and that if he had processed this instead of processing it for us on a stage, we would be able, because I felt like watching it like, oh God, am I supposed to, like, should I be here? Like, this is like a little too raw. You know, like that's how I felt. But it also made me just be like, oh wow, I'm thinking about this differently. Could a woman get away with this? No. Could a Black artist get away with this? No. And you bring up Erykah Badu, but to Erykah Badu's credit, Erykah Badu is a producer. So yes, she was pushing them buttons, but like she produced that music.
She did.
So it was very lo-fi, but again.
I will say this as somebody who is a depressive, who's on medication, who also writes music, not on Justin Bieber's level, but like I have played some of my stuff for you. I played it for other friends, and you are just, you're on Team DeLon. So like you're a cheerleader all fucking day. So you were like, what the fuck? And I played for other people. They're like, oh God. Oh. And I'm like, no, really? This is the upbeat, like, hey. And they're like, oh wait, but they're just waiting at the club for their friend and their friend doesn't show up. And I was like, yeah, I guess it is the story, but it's like a bop, right? Yeah. But like in my mind, that's what I'm expressing, and people receive it they receive it lyrically, and they're like, oh, this is the story that you're telling, and it's sad. So I think in the reverse, I understand like him using his music to express or maybe work through what he's going through. And it's not for everybody, you know, not everybody's gonna be on the train.
And I think ultimately what I like is that it's prompting discussion. And I do think there is a very valid discussion about the expectations for women in music, Black women in music, Black people in music, right? The bar is set. There's this expectation of like, you're replaceable. There's another line of people right behind you that we will slot in. And for white musicians, Taylor Swift, like they could do, you know, they could do a step touch. They could be under the note and they could be above the note, around the note, next to it.
Y'all, listen, I gotta stop on Taylor Swift. Like it's comical, some of the clips people be sending and being like, I mean, but this is amazing work. And I'm like, she's barely on the beat, you all.
Yeah. Like, and you know what? And look, let me tell you this. With Justin Bieber, the mic was on. He was giving us.
He was singing.
I mean, when he was harmonizing, he sounded great. Like he sounded.
He has a whole concert. He was paid $10 million. He better.
You're right. The bars in hell. I was like, he sounded good.
His name is Justin Bieber.
Yes,
he is a name. Yes, he better.
Yes. But the microphone was on, but you know, Miss Longback Swift, when she's up.
It is long. Ooh, trying to be in a leotard.
She got a long back. The vocal will be the mic will be on, and I wish it was off. I wish it was. Sometimes but it's okay to lip sync.
It'll be bedazzled to hell, bedazzled and giving you all day.
And let me tell you, I was in Pilates yesterday. They were playing some Taylor Swift in there, and I was like, okay, wait a second, I'm into this. I was like, this was a good when she's in the
Shake It Off.
No, it was like. I don't even know what it was. I think it was something, it wasn't the new album. I think it was like 2 albums ago. It was very like, like I'm a sad girl looking out a window and there's like rain falling and I've got a cozy sweater on. And, it was just very like lyrical and chill. And she stayed in her range, literally and metaphorically. She wasn't trying to do too much.
Right.
Sing talking. I like a sing talk.
You do. You absolutely do.
I like a shy white girl. I like
you love.
No. Don't.
You knew I was going to bring up your girl Chaperone now. Come on.
Yes, I knew you were going to bring her up. All right, class, tell us in the comments, did you watch the Justin Bieber Coachella performance? Are you a believer? Do you believe?
And also tell us, would you pay for that? If you didn't go, tell us, would you pay for that Coachella ticket?
Would you pay for Coachella, period? Because there's still another weekend. There's still
Is there?
Yes, there's another weekend of Coachella. It's very expensive. There's been a lot of shenanigans around people's Airbnbs getting canceled at the last minute.
Wow.
People, getting to the festival and realizing that somebody had stolen their ticket and resold it. So then they go to scan in. They're like, "Oh, your ticket is stolen." Just like,
wow.
I mean, I'm watching every minute.
You are in it.
This is my Super Bowl.
Hilarious. So funny. Let's hop over to the fix real quick.
Yes. Yeah. Why don't you intro it for us?
Yeah, class, if you are new here on the pod, Let Me Fix It is a podcast where we try to fix things in the world. We started with nostalgia before, We've branched that out to a bunch of things, and every week we bring a new topic. And mine this week is why are Americans so functionally stupid? I jest, but
no, but it's not a joke. It's not a joke.
I mean, the average American has a 7th to 8th grade reading level.
That's high. I don't think that's accurate.
I have some other statistics. 45 million Americans are functionally illiterate, reading below the 5th grade reading level.
Yes, that's
45 million people, which is about 20 or 13% of us, right? But here's some other statistics. 3 out of 4 people on welfare have the lowest levels of literacy. And here's the other thing. I saw this article where I think it was in Maryland. It was in Baltimore. There was an art school where all of these seniors were being sent back to 9th grade because they were allowed. Do you see this?
They were allowed to. I saw one of the moms upset on TikTok.
Oh gosh, she was.
And I was like, you shouldn't be on. She was on TikTok yelling at us.
Well, because and internet's going to come for you, right? So all these kids are being sent back to 9th grade because they were allowed to pass all these classes. Who knows how they were allowed to go to the next grade?
George Bush.
Crazy. Oh, no child left behind.
No child left behind.
Well, I mean, but they're not going to be functional members of society because they're not able to read. You know, and sure, I have some fixes for this, but I think the problem is like there's just been an erosion by our government. I would say, in terms of funding with schools and in terms of what we have access to. I talk about this a lot on the pod, but I remember when civics was a thing that we had to take in 9th grade, at least in Minnesota. In northern Minnesota, we had to take civics, which is just the study of government, right? Some of it's tethered to history, but we also we had to take economics, world history, and government. I hated these classes. Thank God I took these fucking classes.
I know.
I understand how the government and history and all of it is tethered together, right? But that's no longer a thing, right? Some of these, I asked a student at my school, and she was saying, "Oh yeah, we take one class that has all of that mashed in together at some point in high school, and then you can take like AP government and AP economics, and." To be a functional member of society, meaning civically, right? Knowing when women got the right to vote, knowing how voting is, how the electoral college works, which is crazy, right? Knowing all of those things is paramount to just understanding why it's important to vote, and not only understanding why it's important to vote, but what's happening in our government currently. Right. So I think the government is really making us stupid on purpose, specifically the Republicans, because if you look at most Republican states, those are the most illiterate states.
Well, I mean, listen, one of the most truthful things that Donald Trump ever said was, I love the uneducated. I mean, and if you look at what's happening right now, there are a lot of people who do not understand because they're literally not reading. They're not reading the news. They don't know how to decipher what is a legitimate news source. The amount of people I see on social media sharing AI generated images and videos, and you slap a bold text on a photo and people are acting like it's a headline. Where
Right.
is the source? I have said this so many times. People tried to come for me. There was a whole thing about, Erica Kirk is going to sue Drewski for making a sketch about her.
Oh, that was
Fuck
AI.
Erica Kirk. Fuck Erica Kirk. I don't like her. But the amount of people I saw sharing fake tweets and article screenshots, and every time I would say, where is the source? They're like, well, it's true. I know it's true. Show me the source. People don't even know how to do that. And again, not to get on my AI soapbox, that's part of it too. People are using AI to give them the answers to things and not actually investigating for themselves. They're just going, oh, well, here's the answer, and knowing or not knowing that AI will hallucinate. But also a lot of students are using it. So you're getting a homework assignment to read this book. And instead of reading the book, you're just going, hey, AI, can you write the summary for me? And the reading of the book is what's helping your mind. The kids are not reading. They're texting all the time, right?
I mean, I would zoom out and I would say it's social media and it's the internet.
Yes.
It's all
1,000%.
Because the internet is the thing that trained us to, I mean, I've always said this, people look at me like I'm crazy when I say this, my students in particular. But we are lazy inherently as a species. We want it the quickest way, the lowest common denominator. We've just learned that, right? When we were hunters and gatherers, we were like, how can I get this food as quickly as possible? How can I get pleasure and survival as quickly as possible? So the idea that the information is going to be fed to you more easily is fantastic, right? We're going to go there. But I think with the internet, Google's an amazing thing. But it really has trained us to not go look for the answer, we can go and aggregate different sources, which I think you and I both do, right? But social media also, like the idea that somebody's coming on the internet, and I know we are currently on the internet on social media, like having a voice, but coming on social media and being like, I'm an authority on this topic, has trained people to go, oh, I actually don't need to go and research this because I've got this information from this source, right?
Well, it's everything being synthesized down into these bite-sized, to your point about everybody wants it the fastest, the quickest way. Class, I'll say this happens here sometimes where we'll share something and people ask us follow-ups, and I'm like, it's in the description box. I put the article, I put the video, I put the podcast, I put the brand there. It happens in my comments all the time where I'll mention something and people will say, well, what does that word mean? Go look it up. Go take the initiative. But unfortunately, I think my fix for this is we got to bring back that pizza party. Remember, you used to get a pizza party if you read a certain number of books? Did you have that at your school?
Before. No, we didn't have that. We did not have that. We got a star. We got a star on the board.
Let me tell you, that Pizza Hut pizza party motivated me. I mean, I loved to read anyway, but unfortunately, we need to incentivize these things. We've talked about this before. Like, honestly, if there was some sort of class, tell me if you would do this. If there was, you could get a discount on your rent for reading a certain amount of books. I'm not joking. I'm not joking.
Listen, that would require so much altruism, but I love where your mind's going. Yes.
But I mean, or even for your kids, right?
Yeah, totally.
It's like, okay, you have a cell phone. Well, we don't have nights and weekends anymore, but back in my day, you had nights and weekends on the phone. But if we had something that said, you can get more screen time if you read X amount of books, like tying it to something where, when you're a kid, you don't understand that certain things that you're learning in school have a benefit later on in life. And I'm guilty of that too, where you're like, why am I learning about this? This is so, you yourself said it, Delon. You're like, why am I learning this? But now you're like, oh, I see a benefit to it. Getting a good grade in class is not enough of an incentive for these kids, because a lot of them think they're going to go out and they're going to be content creators. They're going to become basketball stars. They're going to be producers. They're going to be whatever. And they're like, I don't need school. I don't need this. And the No Child Left Behind of it all, teachers are so underpaid and they have these giant classrooms that we're asking teachers to spend their own money on supplies and doing all this other stuff. And so there's a lot of teachers that are like, fuck this. fuck this, I'm not doing this anymore,
Well,
I'm piecing out, or they just don't have the mental capacity to make sure that every single student is getting the education they need. And then you have parents that don't know how to fucking read, so you got kids at home, their parents don't know how to help them. I mean, it's a cycle.
yeah, well, and if you don't provide resources for, I mean, not only like actual financial resources, but like if you have a teacher that's dealing with an overcrowded classroom, that person, like I have friends that are teachers in public school. Like I teach at a university, but like that is not only a really hard job, but our mutual friend Kirsten teaches
Yeah,
in school, and she has to, her job requires her to label which students have special needs. So she's
because they're
already
all in the
teaching.
same because they're all in the same class
So
now.
she has to write an entire dossier on a student and then go to the school and then go to the parent and walk everyone through this. That is psychology. A
Mm-hmm.
psychologist should be doing that. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. So yeah, the whole process is kind of fucked. I think one of the things that I have for my fix is, social media. We're not going to untether ourselves from it. Like, it's a part of
Right.
our lives now. But I wonder if there's a way to use like a book talk, use like
Yeah.
a part of the internet that can help you with reading, can help you
Mm-hmm.
get join a book club online. My sister does this all the time. My sister is
Mm-hmm.
an avid reader. She and I are reading a book together. She's reading 4 of the books with other people, and it keeps the two of us engaged. I think we've read like 4 or 5 books now together in
Mm-hmm.
2026, right?
Wow.
Which is a
Wow.
lot.
Wow. Wow.
So like
One a
it keeps,
month.
yeah, it keeps us talking together. It keeps us connected, but it keeps me reading. My sister actually does this thing where she does a tandem read. So she listens to it and
Mm.
she also reads it at the same time. So then
Oh.
she's like, because like sometimes you can miss things when you're just
Yeah.
like listening to it like a podcast or like music.
Wow. They
So she
that
actually,
that's so smart. We should
yeah,
definitely be encouraging students and young people to do that.
it is really smart, because if you do have a lower reading level, listen, dyslexic right here, right? I was always in the
Yeah.
lowest reading group until I figured out what my issue was. If you do have an issue with reading, sometimes it's hard to sit down and actually do it, right? I had a
Yeah.
problem where I would fall asleep reading all the time. And
Mm.
it wasn't that like I was incapable of doing it. It's just that my brain doesn't process the words in the same way, right?
Yeah.
And so tandem reading is one thing. Finding a place on the internet where you can read. Finding a place on the internet. I think people are going away from TikTok and Instagram in particular, and a lot of people are going to Substack, and people are
Yeah.
going to Medium. And so finding a somewhere that you can be interested in on the internet that has to do with filling your cup up and not just like watching small sound bites and looping through, I
Mm-hmm.
think is going to help us just become a little bit smarter. And it's not only about reading, but I think reading is a good start.
No, I think reading is absolutely the first start, because to your point about people that maybe struggle with reading and have gotten discouraged, the way you get better is you have to just keep doing it. You
Yeah.
have to there's actually a very popular YouTuber, I think his name is Kai Sinat. I'm probably saying his name incorrectly. But he got teased for not being good at reading. He had to read something, I don't know what it was for. And so he started this public YouTube channel where he's reading every day and reading out loud. And it's kind of become this really powerful thing where people, there were definitely still people making fun of him, but also people realizing like he's destigmatizing the fact that a lot of people struggle with reading. And you could
Hmm.
see him get better. You could hear him get better. And just the process of seeing him like come across a word that he wasn't familiar with and then going and looking it up was like incredible, right? Like
Mm.
it's a small thing, but the realization of like, wow, a lot of young kids are watching this guy and are, avid fans of his YouTube channel, and how powerful that they're seeing him read and admit that he doesn't know things and admit that this is not a skill that he feels very confident in. It was really, really powerful. I'm going to also say we've talked about the Libby app, which is
I use Libby all the time
a
now.
free library app. I think another fix is we got to make fucking libraries the spot. Libraries have so
Mm.
many cool free programs that are in grave danger, which is why, again, with the midterms coming up, you need to know who's on the ballot to make sure that libraries continue to be a safe and free place that we all have access to. But really getting them kids in that library. We don't have a lot of third spaces.
Right.
That's the
And
space that we need to be having the kids pull out a book and get through it. And again, give them some sort of incentive to, help them understand that reading can enrich their lives, and beyond the fact of like being smart, like it's really good for your brain to have a place to escape to.
yeah, and one of the things I would mention with the library of it all, I discovered that the Museum of Fine Arts of Boston on Friday and Saturday they stay open until 10 o'clock at night, and I was like, that's
Ooh.
crazy, that's unheard of, and I'm going to take advantage of that with my free time, what little of it I have. But I wonder if the library could stay open a little bit later and have some kind of reading event on a
Mm.
Friday and Saturday. Make it talk about incentivizing. Make it like, have you heard of First Fridays at museums? They have
Yeah.
those things.
Yeah.
Have
In
like a First
Brooklyn.
Fridays where there's like
Hmm.
there's a book reading event. There's a maybe there are old books that we're giving away copies of, right? So let's come
Mm.
and have the author talk about it. Like make it an
Yeah.
event. Um,
Yeah.
and I think that's community building, incentivizing.
Yeah. I
That would be my
love
fix for
that. All right.
that.
Well, my fix is interesting because this thing kind of has been fixed, but it still has room for improvement. So the state of Tennessee has passed a child labor law that regulates how influencers are allowed to feature children in their content. I don't have kids, but this is a passion of mine.
It really is.
I really think that we have to be so careful with how children are featured on the internet for their privacy. Concerns, but this is really interesting because this is specifically about content creators who make money off of content with their children in the content. They will be required to compensate kids with a portion of the profits made online. I think this should be nationwide. What is
Yeah.
very interesting, the way that I found out about this, is there is a very popular family YouTube channel, the LeBrant family. Now, I had never heard of these people before. They have 12.7 million subscribers on
I
YouTube.
was going to say 12 kids. I was like, God damn.
They have 5 kids. They have
That's,
5 kids
even
that
that's
range
too
from
many.
1 to 13. Their 13-year-old has 4.9 million followers on Instagram. The mom has 37 million followers on across all
Wow.
her platforms, and the dad has 27 million. Now they left California and moved to Nashville, and now as soon as this bill got passed, guess what they doing?
Moving
They
to
say
California.
goodbye, we're leaving. They put their house on the market, and it's a story. That's how I came across this. People Magazine did a story about this. And so they put their house on the market like last week after moving from California to Tennessee. And it's raised the question, for me and for many others, how fair is it to essentially have your kids working all the time? Because when it comes to kids in film and television, not to say that Hollywood is perfect by any means, it's not, but there are specific laws about how often your child can appear or be on set. So, for example, when I worked on iCarly, we had on the call sheet, we had what was called Jaden turns into a pumpkin, meaning at 5 o'clock, she becomes a pumpkin and cannot work anymore. And so it was
Mm,
written on every call sheet what time she was a pumpkin that day, because the kids are not allowed to work
right.
24 hours. But if you're on social media, technically, you can work all the time. They're filming 24/7. And those funds, at the very least, the same way that we have what's called the Coogan laws in film and television, that money, if you are a SAG actor as a child, it goes into a trust for you that your parents cannot touch.
Right.
And even with that, we've heard about Macaulay Culkin getting emancipated from his parents. We've heard about kids who have worked on these big budget features and TV shows, and their parents have taken advantage of, the fact that they're a kid, and they've taken all their money. So what do you think is happening with these social media kids? Where is that money going?
Well, it's a family
So,
affair, right? Like
mhm,
the entire family is supported by social media, which
yeah.
I completely agree with this Tennessee law. I think at base, akin to the Coogan laws,
Mhm,
money should be set aside for these kids when they turn
mhm,
18. That what they can do with what they want. But I do think like there has to be I mean, the law is great, but there has to be some kind of not a public shaming, but a public conversation about it as well, right? Because this is not the first family. There was this
No.
documentary that I watched. Oh God, I'm gonna mess it
Oh,
up.
about is it the one about the woman who rehomed their adopted son?
Oh no, this is another
Because
one
I
where there
watched
was some
that
kids
one.
who were being tortured in the basement.
Oh yes, yes,
In
yes, yes.
Utah, I think
I forget.
they might have
Yeah,
been Mormon. I think I don't want to conflate, but anyway,
yeah.
but clearly there are too many. You
There's too
know,
many.
Kate plus eight, that probably started it on
Mm-hmm.
TLC or Bravo or whatever that was. But I just think like it's exploitative, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of people who have young people who have no voice, and so I think to your point about this crusade that you're on with it, I think we have to continue to like really talk about it. And I hate to say shame these people because I understand like social media, it's low hanging fruit. You think if you can
Yeah,
make money at it, do it, you know,
yeah.
but it does seem the morals are a little suspect, you know, when you have your young kids making money at 5, 6, whatever age they're at, they're
Yeah,
minors, you know?
and I just think, I do think there is a world where social media can open doors for, creative kids, maybe kids who want to be in entertainment, kids who are musicians and artists, and maybe they want to, use the internet in order to connect with other opportunities, whether it be, building an audience so that they can start a business or go to college or
Or
whatever
have a
it may
Coachella
be.
concert, you know?
Or have a concert. But like a 13-year-old with 4.9 million followers, a little girl, there's a lot of weirdos out here. There's a lot of weirdos, and with
The internet's still the
AI,
wild, wild west. It's
it's still
still
the wild wild west, and there have been way too many exposés done about the types of people that are online. And if you take the weirdos out of the equation, just the kid's privacy, right? The fact that a kid, we know a lot of times these parents are like, but my kid loves doing it. It's like, well, your kid is a child. And so they're not able to see the potential consequences later on.
right.
And of course, a kid is going to say, oh, yeah, I love doing this because you are their parent. And so there's the power imbalance of, hey, do you want to do this thing that we really love and is helping us pay our bills and has given us this incredible life? Or do you really want to keep doing it? Of course the kid's going to say yes.
Well, and how many times have we seen like a celebrity who's got an opportunity, and then you go through their tweets or
Mm-hmm.
former? We talk about Justin Bieber and him
Yeah.
saying the N word, right? Going through their history on the internet when they really weren't super cognizant of what they were doing or saying. They were
Mm-hmm.
just saying something for the sake of saying it, or because it was funny, or was going to get clicks or likes or whatever the hell. So like you're not being a good steward of their future, right?
Right.
Because it's a lot of shit that they can say and do or could happen to them, as you just said,
Mm-hmm.
that I think we're not thinking ahead about, you know?
Well, and sometimes it's not even just that like they've said something negative or that they're going to regret, right? Sometimes it's just, you go to school and your classmates can go online and see every moment of your life over the past 5 to 10 years. Kids are cruel, right? Like your intimate moments at home. I remember when I was coming up on YouTube, there was a very popular YouTube channel, the Shaytards, which that name in itself is just weird. But they were posting, oh, my kid has a crush on this girl at school. Oh my God, this one's going on its on the first date. This one got a bad grade on a test. And all I could think is, how is that kid feeling when they go to school and their classmates can see all this embarrassing stuff that's happening, your dad making fart noises and like doing all this stupid stuff? It's just like your home life should be your home life, and kids should have a safe space to express themselves and vent and experience challenges and be vulnerable and be silly without it being captured and documented for all time. Once
For
it's on the
posterity.
internet, it's there
Yeah.
forever.
Well, and yeah, it releases us from anonymity. You have no sense of anonymity, and I think the one thing I suffer from, not suffer from, but I deal with some of my students is surveillance culture, right? So,
Yes.
class, if you probably know, if you're new here, I teach acting. I teach acting at a musical theater school, and one of the things that we often talk about is students' inability to be a clown. students' inability to take risks because they're so used to everything being recorded, everything being seen, everything being judged. And if you're, as an actor, you do have to make, especially in school, especially in any degree that you're trying to get, you have to be able to fail. You have to be able to try things, especially as a young adult. And theater is all about you trying something specific and seeing what works. We say often, we're teaching you a bunch of tools, and you will find what works for you and put that in your toolbox, and you will go forth professionally and use what's best for you. But if you're not really taking risks in the classroom, if you're unable to do that, you're really doing yourself a disservice. And it's not them specifically. I think it's just growing up with the internet, social media, and social and surveillance culture, you know?
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about this before, but it's like, you know, the death of club culture. I see so many clips online of people filming people dancing and saying like, look at how dumb this person's dancing is. And it's like, yeah, well, when you're dancing, you're not thinking like, how should I dance so that the world is capturing me and I look cool? And then you see these, you know, these party shots, Coachella, for example, and it's somebody dancing and a bunch of people all standing around with their phones. And it's like, you're not living in the moment. You're concerned with capturing the moment. You are concerned with like looking a certain way because you might be in the background of somebody's video. And if the video goes viral, then suddenly they're zooming in on your face. I can't tell you how many times I've seen somebody filming themselves doing a dance or whatever in the subway or in a grocery store. And they're zooming in like, ooh, look at that hater in the background. It's like, or maybe that's just their fucking resting bitch face and they don't realize they're in the background of your video. Or they're at the gym and they're, you know, working out and they're like, oh, look at how this person's running on the treadmill. It's like, oh my God, we need to stop filming everyone.
Please God.
And putting it on the freaking internet.
It's crazy. Like that's how we engage with the world now, which is really nice.
Oh my God.
Cool.
Class, tell us in the comments, how would you solve the literacy crisis? What do you think about kids being on the internet, these family channels? How would you fix it? Because I think this Tennessee thing is very smart. I think the platform should be doing more to protect children as well. But we also would love to hear from you, which is a perfect segue to comments from the class. Thank you for your patience last week while Delon was opening his show. Congratulations.
Thank you. Oh, wait.
And
class, you see those flowers? Those flowers are Fran sent me. They're beautiful, right?
They are in amazing shape.
Amazing. I've only changed the water twice. And let me tell you this. I was like, my allergies are fucked up. Spring, because it's 70 degrees here. Spring has sprung. No, it was these fucking flowers. I was like, because they were just, they're so, oh no, please.
They're so fragrant, huh?
They're so fragrant. Like this place like is fucking bomb. Like beautiful flowers. Thank you so much. Thank you for sending them.
You're so welcome. Well, this first comment is related to that. It comes from Sarah G3550. Sarah says, congratulations, Delon. Here's to one successful production and more to follow. I also want to say it's incredibly heartwarming to watch your friendship on here. Fran and Delon on here, how you support each other. It's so cool. Thank you for sharing it. I love when we get comments like that because it's true. This is my husband. This is
I mean, and so much so that like we're so spiritually connected. I really do believe this is a little woo woo, as we like to say. But a lot of times Fran will be going through something and right after I'm going through something similar or vice versa. We're sending voice notes and we're like, she's like, well, bitch, I'm in the same fucking boat.
We are synced up. We are periods at the same time.
You know what? And you know what, Fran? If I could, I would take some of them periods from you. I would do that for you.
I wish you would. I wish you would. But without fail, my shit hits me and I'm going through it and Delon is going through it at the same time.
Legit.
But we also have parallel wins. Yes. And so your wins are my wins and vice versa. And I'm so thankful that we get to share that with the class because, you know, we make jokes about you being single and relationships and all other stuff. But I am of the mind that platonic friendship can be just as fulfilling as romantic friendship.
100%.
And we model that on the show, and I encourage people to pour into their friends and learn from us. You know, again, I had on that calendar, Delon has his show open, and guess what I'm about to do? Send these flowers. Because that's my man.
I know. I wish you could smell them.
Yeah.
But There's some people that have said that commented, listeners have commented and saying, I don't know, I don't have the same kind of friendships. I don't know how you do it. How do you cultivate this kind of friendship? I would respond to that with just like need, right? Like
Mm.
someone I saw on the internet, as I keep criticizing the internet, someone on TikTok was like, I'm not afraid to go to somebody and say, hey, I need a friend. And the
Yes.
first thing is they'll laugh. Because it's vulnerable, but then explain why you need the friend and ask, are you interested in being that friend? Because I like you
Mm-hmm.
and I would like to
Mm-hmm.
cultivate that. It's rare that happens,
Yeah.
especially in adulthood. It's hard to make friends. I'm glad I found you when I did because we've grown up together, but we've grown
Yeah.
up through adulthood together. But I need you. That's
Yeah.
what I've discovered is I
Well,
need
yeah.
friends like you.
Well, and I think that I would add on to that like when you do have those friendships, knowing that they are there for you to lean on. Because sometimes
Mm,
because Delon and I are very good about this, say, hey, I'm going through it. Can you hop on the phone? I
mm-hmm.
really need somebody to talk to. I really need some advice. I just want to bounce something off of you to remember that you don't have to do things alone. And I think, unfortunately, this is tied into social media. A lot of people are getting these bad messages about, I don't need anything from anybody, and I'm a low maintenance friend, and you don't ask me for anything, and I'm not going out
But
of my way.
but crying on Saturday night by
But
themselves, okay?
but crying alone on the bathroom floor because
Right.
because you're going through something and you are not vulnerable enough, or you are unwilling to let the people in your community know, I need you. I need some help. And
Mm,
I think, we talked about this in other episodes. It's a push and pull, right? Like it can't, you can't always be like need, but you have to be able to be there for other people. Write down a birthday. I
mm-hmm.
keep a little notepad that lets me know, oh, so and so has a show. So and so has a big audition coming up. This person just got a promotion at work. There's a big project that they're working on, so that I can follow up and be like, hey, hope that everything went all right. Can't wait to hear about it,
I say all the time, hey Siri, set a reminder to text Francesca about her job thing. I do it all the
Mhm.
time,
Yes.
just so that I can say. And listen, I don't be on Facebook like that, but the one thing Facebook is good for is reminding me that a friend
Those
has a
birth
fucking birthday.
those birthdays.
That is the one thing I stay on Facebook for, right?
Hmm. Yeah, and I would also say, like, I do this a lot, and I think you're really good about this too. People do the TikTok, like send each other TikToks or whatever. I think sometimes people use that as kind of like a shortcut to like staying in touch. But
Mm-hmm.
like I take it a step further where like I saw this article and it reminded me of something that we've talked about. So I'm going to send you the article and I'm going to say, remember when we talked about that thing X, Y, and Z? I do this a lot with like Deadline because a lot of my friends work in the industry where I see an announcement about a show and I text them and I'm like, you better call your agent because I could absolutely see you working
Mm,
on this show. I miss you. I hope you're doing okay. Like, just being intentional about keeping that connection going with the people that you care about. And sometimes a person that maybe like you're not as close as you would like to be, take the extra step to show them, hey, I want us to be closer. I would love
right.
for us to spend time. Can we have lunch together? Like, can we hop on the phone? Can we do a FaceTime? Just put in that extra care, especially right now with everything happening in the world. We need each
Ooh,
other.
help me, Jesus. I mean, for real, for real, for real, for real. Because again, we're all consuming the same shit on the internet, but it's also like when there isn't much joy or you feel like there isn't much direction or hope, it's easy to get bogged down. It's easy
Yeah.
to just go to work and come home, especially if you're single. But also
Mm-hmm.
if you have a family. I was joking with a colleague of mine. I was like, so I'm single, blah, blah. And she was like, I just want to let you know I'm a mother and married. And she's like, and I am very lonely sometimes. And I was like,
Yeah.
thank you for clarifying that. She meant it
Yeah.
dead ass. I was joking, but she
Yeah.
meant it. And I was like, that's real, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it matters. I had another audio clip of
Oh,
comments from the
yes, you
class.
sure did. Give me 1 second. Let me pull it up. Classes is a great reminder. You can send us comments or questions via audio clip. So let me just
Let me
see
fix it at
here.
gmail.com. Let me fix it pod at gmail.com, excuse me.
Yes,
And
correct.
at fixitpod.
Okay, here,
This one
let's
comes
play it.
from Lauren.
Great.
Hey, just want to say thank you for everything. Y'all are such a bright light in whatever this clusterfuck we're living in. But I was wondering if it's possible that Delon or even you, Francesca, could give some insight on people who are interested in getting into kind of like Black Broadway and like right now I want to get into August Wilson's work. That's where I want to start. But I know he has like 10 plays and I've been doing a lot of reading, but it's just like seems so overwhelming to kind of get into. But there's also so many shows and so many plays that I'm just really want to know more about. And I just kind of I'm so overwhelmed with the amount of information and the amount of material that I was just wondering if he could provide or you guys could provide any insights or suggestions of how to kind of dip your toe in to then immerse yourself into it. Just any suggestions on how someone who is interested in getting their feet wet or learning more about Black Broadway, where to start, what are your suggestions, what are some of your favorite plays. Again, thank you all so much for what you do. I really appreciate it. Sorry I had to leave a voice note. I'm putting flexi rods in my hair, but I'm watching you guys right now. So I just wanted to say thank you so much. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your second quarter.
Oh my gosh, that was
Thank
so
you, Lauren.
that was so sweet. Delon, I'm gonna kick it off to you because he is a professor, and I know you have many suggestions.
Absolutely. So first, I'll start with social media. There's just it's Black Women Broadway. You can follow their account. Danielle Brooks is actually on there a lot because she was in an August Wilson play. She was in Piano Lesson that was directed by Samuel L. Jackson's wife. I forget her name. But there's also Broadway Black, which features a lot of Black performers on Broadway and Black shows. So that's social media. But as for playwrights, August Wilson is kind of like the one of the pillars, rather. So he has his canon. But I would also offer up Zora Neale Hurston, who we know was a poet. She also wrote a couple plays. James Baldwin wrote a couple plays. We know those names.
I was going to say Lorraine Hansberry was going to be.
Lorraine Hansberry. What was her big one? Why am I blanking?
Raisin in the Sun.
Raisin in the Sun. That's her. And she, oh God, so crazy. That's her big one. And she passed away from cancer when she was like 35 or something.
Yeah.
So like we don't have any more from her. I think she wrote one other play, but I can't remember the name of that. But some 21st century writers, Dominique Morisseau, who's won, I think she's won the Pulitzer, excuse me. She wrote Skeleton Crew. Pipeline is a great play that deals with race issues. Ain't Too Proud, which is based on the life of
you did that too, right?
Oh no, I auditioned for it. I didn't book it.
Okay.
But Ain't Too Proud is the musical of The Temptation. She wrote the book for that. Lynn Nottage is a double Pulitzer Prize winner. She wrote the plays Sweat and Ruined. Intimate Apparel is one of her big ones. Brandon Jacobs Jenkins, who's our friend Cheo's husband. Brandon Jacobs Jenkins, who
won a Tony recently.
Two.
Okay.
Back to back.
Yes,
back-to-back years, he's won Tony. He won the Tony for Appropriate 2 years ago, and then last season he won it for Purpose. Both of those plays are brilliant. His play Octoroon also, I think, won him a Pulitzer. Primary Trust is by Ebony Booth, and Jocelyn Bio has Yaya's Hair Braiding.
I've heard
African
fantastic things about that one.
It's such a fucking funny play.
Wait, did you say Michael? The guy from Strange Loop?
Oh, Michael R. Jackson, who wrote Strange Loop. That's another musical. Ain't No Mo is what you're thinking of.
Yes.
Ain't No Mo is, why am I blanking on his Google Ain't No Mo. That is another brilliant, very Black, very, very topical play. So those are some things in the satirical. Yeah. So those are things in the canon that I would offer you up. But in terms of like how you break in, just start acting. Just start auditioning and find some monologues, find some auditions. Playbill.com is something I would use. If you're in New York specifically, that's a resource. But just start going to plays, consume them.
Yeah.
Because that's how you also start to learn your taste. You start to learn what works for you, what you're interested in doing. So that was my first foray into how to get your feet wet.
Yeah, I would definitely say look within your community and see if there's a Black theater company or, what productions are happening at your local theaters. Also look at your local schools, right? Like what local colleges, community colleges, is there an art high school? Is there a volunteer opportunity for you to work with students and work with young actors? Especially right now, there are so many arts programs that are being defunded. But they need bodies in the seats, but they need
Yes.
people who are also willing to help. And that might be a really great way for you to learn, get exposed to more art, but also get opportunities to participate as an artist. And one of the things I loved when we were in theater school together and when I was in high school is the opportunity to work in different parts of the production to really get an appreciation for it. So like while you might really want to act, not to like poo poo that dream, you could also suddenly be in the costume shop and be like, wait a second, this is also my calling, you know? And again, just another great opportunity to learn and
Yes.
have your mind expanded as an artist is always something that I'm going to encourage and advocate for.
And adjacent to that, I would say usher at a local theater. Ushering
Yes.
gets you free tickets. Usher
Ooh!
gets you free access to the
Yes,
shows.
I
So
love
then it's also, you're seeing theater for free, and you're also immersing yourself in the community. People know your name. Sometimes you want to go, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
I
And
love
thank
that.
you again, Lauren. I'm glad. Thank you for relaxing your hair and listening to the pod, but also for sending a voice memo. And remember, class, if we keep saying it, but if you want to have your voice here on the pod, lemmefixitpod@gmail.com or @fixitpod on social media.
All right. Well, Delon, I know we're running over. Do we have
We are
time?
way over.
Do you have time for the glow up?
Yeah,
All right.
let's do it.
Now it's time for everyone's favorite segment, the glow up, where we give props to those who've turned themselves around without our help. Delon, is it okay if I go first?
Please do.
Okay, so this is a potential glow up that you and I talked about offline. I'm toying with the idea of doing the artist's way. I did 6 weeks the first time around. But I was thinking, if I did it, would you be interested in doing it with me? Class, would you guys be open to doing it? Could it potentially be?
Well, tell us what the artist's way is, Fran. Some people might not be familiar.
So the Artist Way is a 12-week program. It's a very famous book that stays on the New York Times bestseller list. I mean, that's how popular it is. I think it came out in like the 60s or 70s. Let me look it up. The Artist Way. And basically it's all about, it came out in 1992. Oh, thank goodness I looked that up. So it's been around for a long time. And basically it's this idea that artists have to kind of rediscover their artistic voice, and that a lot of creative people are just so used to like tampering down that voice because we live in a world that is not really conducive to the arts. And so many people deal with self-doubt and creative blocks that are really through no fault of their own. Maybe your parents are not encouraging of your artistic pursuits. Maybe you have a demanding job. Maybe you don't have the finances to pursue your arts and your artistic passion. And so this book is all about overcoming all of those things and reconnecting with your artistic voice. And very famously, most recently, Doechii did the Artist Way and like did a whole, video series on it early in her career. And it's really cool to watch her week by week kind of talk about what she's learning to now know that she is Doechii, and like watching her be like, I'm the baddest bitch. I'm going to be somebody. I'm going to win a Grammy someday. Like, nobody believes in my art. I'm just going to keep trying things. And it's really, really powerful. And I had a friend recently who I was talking to about her writing process. And she was saying that the morning pages, which is kind of like the thing that the Artist Way is known for, is that every morning you're supposed to wake up and write like 3 uninterrupted pages, that it really helped her. And I've just been having a lot of blocks in my own personal writing. And I think because I have this day job where I am having to be creative on demand, like I have meetings scheduled where it's like, you were going to think for an hour, you're just going to pump out as many ideas as possible. I feel like my brain is getting tired, and it's a challenge for me when I'm like writing stand up or trying to produce content or editing the pod or like trying to write this movie. And I'm just like, oh, I'm not funny.
It's a lot of output. It's a lot of output.
It's a lot of output and not enough like restoration. And the Artist Way is all about like these artist dates that you're supposed to take yourself on.
Yes.
And really just like, I love structure and I love a schedule. And I'm just thinking like, well, maybe doing this and again, talking about it on the pod will be a way to hold myself accountable. And maybe it'll be what I was thinking is like not to give us more work to do, but like maybe it could be a segment that we do where we check in on like the artist's way, or we just do like a one-off episode where it's just an artist's way episode where we talk about what our homework was and like what we learned. And I don't know, I thought it could be interesting and just something different that's not topical. I don't know.
I love this idea, and I also love the idea of the class doing it with us.
Yeah.
Class, let us know, friend. Let's do it. I'm so game. My semester's about to end. I have some other
Yeah.
work coming up, but I actually am in a point right now because there was so much output with my show that I'm sitting here every night like I'm watching movies, and I'm kind of working on my projects. I've been taking piano lessons, so I'm like playing piano a little bit, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But like I'm like, what do I do if my time is not stretched super thin? I don't know what to do with myself, right?
Yeah.
So I have the space and time, so I'm so game for that. But to your point about the structure of it all, not necessarily the structure of your day, but the structure of it on the pod, I wonder if just out loud thinking in draft, not only do we record the pod, but we record a segment that has to do with the artist's way. And then we also put that out and also see if the class wants to do that. And if you're doing it with us, you can watch that separately. But if you're not doing it, like no biggie. I think we should do that. I'm totally down for this.
Kind of like how we did the after pods is what I'm thinking, that like we could just talk through it. It could be like really short, because honestly, when we put out the game episode, I was pleasantly surprised. People were really into it. They were like, do this game again. This was so fun. I was like, oh, I'm worried because it's short, but they were really into it. And I feel like a shorter offering in addition to these episodes could be really interesting. And again, we could even do like maybe every 4 weeks we do an Artist Way episode. It's just a mini episode where we talk about like the month's worth of assignments and things that we tried and whatever. I just think it could be really cool. And I really need it. I've been like struggling with this feature, and I just want to get it out. And I feel like,
I understand.
I know you do.
I've been trying to, y'all know I've been trying to write this thing for 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm actually reorganizing some stuff on the board over here. So
okay. Yes, board. Okay. Okay. So thank you for validating me, class. Tell us in the comments if you've done the Artist Way. People who've done it swear by it. But it is
I never
this
finished
game
it.
changer.
I did it. There's I'm not going to give anything away, but there's a certain activity that you're supposed to do with the morning pages, and I remember going back and doing it and being like, "Oh God, sir, wow, these pages are depressing."
Yeah, I might go back and read mine.
I mean, I fell asleep reading mine. I was like, "You are boring and sad," but I didn't finish it, so I'm really down to do it again. I think it was like 2012, 11 when I was doing it. So I'm due. Let's do it and finish it.
I started doing it in 2022 after I was like going through a breakup. And I think that was part of why I was like really like, what am I doing? And then I got a job and I was like, fuck this.
Well, I was also telling myself too recently, I was like, I need to take myself on artist dates. I said that very specifically. Like I Googled that thing about the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston.
Oh yeah.
Because I was like, I'm going to go to the museum one day. And then I was like, oh God, it's open till 10? Shit. Like there's no reason I can't do that. But there's a lot, and I haven't discovered it because I'm always in rehearsal, but there's a lot to do in my city, or in a lot of people that I should meet, community I need to find, I think, to help my mental health and help me socially here. I have a lot of theater friends, don't get me wrong. I have a lot of community here, but that's very specific. I don't have any gays, and I don't have anybody outside of like the artist community. So this could help with that too.
All right. What's your glow up?
My glow up goes to me.
Oh, yes.
My glow up goes to me. I kind of rarely do this, but it goes to me because, and the show. I did a very big thing with directing the show at school, and it is being so well received. And it's not, what's not crazy surprised. To me, why, and not that I am surprised either, but I think you understand, Francesca, being such a perfectionist, you put all of your time and you put so much into it, and all I can see is that needs to be here, that needs to be fixed, this, there, instead of being like, I've done something that is so well thought out. I chose a good piece. I chose amazing collaborators, and obviously it's going to be good. But it wasn't until I had people reflecting back to me that I could stop and go, wait, no, it's good. I kept trying to pick it apart.
Yeah.
And it's just a feather in my cap to go, listen, everything you do is not going to be for everybody. But
Right,
everything you do, you put all of yourself into it, and that makes it good. That makes it worth it. I don't care if somebody doesn't like it or they do like it. And I wish that I could, being a performer, the validation loop is inherent in what we do. You know, you get up on stage, you want somebody to laugh at your joke. You know, you want somebody to clap for what you did and tell you how great you are and how pretty you are. And that dims with time and with age and with experience. But it's always there. But so this is just a really great example of, I am so capable of doing great things. And this was just like another testament of that. So I'm up here being like, you the shit. You just shit. Good for you.
I'm so, friend, I'm so proud of you. And I'll tell you a million times over, the only thing I wish is I could have been there, but the next one I will be in the front row, you know, being embarrassing. That's my man. That's my friend. Do you know who the director is? Do you see his name in the program?
Wait, class, Fred came to my Broadway show the first time and I played this like sexy pilot and I could hear her in the audience. You think I'm loud? She was like, I heard
my God.
of everybody else.
Well, and then there, you know, when he comes out, class, it's on Apple TV. If you haven't watched Come From Away. But there's one point where Delon's, you know, looking all sexy. And there was like this group of little old white ladies. I don't know if they were like next to us. And they were like, oh my goodness, he's handsome. And then I was like, that's my friend. That's my friend. You see, y'all like him? He's gay. He's gay. He's not into y'all. But he is very handsome.
He's the gay. Hilarious.
Oh my God. Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So many of us were rooting for you. The class was pouring lots of love your way. Please go and check those comments. And thank you again for supporting Delon and being so gracious as we took a little pause. We gave you an extra long episode this week.
I appreciate it. Yes, we did. Class, we caught up.
Hit us up via email, lemmefixitpod@gmail.com. You can send us a voice note with the tagline. Send us your deepest, darkest secrets. Ask us some questions. We love hearing from you.
And let us know if you want to do the artist way with us, because I think that is really, really cool. And if you want a separate episode, or if you just want it looped in this episode, let us know. If you're new here, please subscribe. Hit that subscription button. We have new episodes every Wednesday. And if you want to know when they're dropped, just hit that notification bell as well. And we have kind of a live watch that happens at noon.
Yes.
So if you're game for that, Francesca's always ready there, clacking on the keyboard.
Yes.
We love you. We're here every Wednesday. Thank you so much. I'm Delon.
I'm Francesca, and this was Lemme.